Hello and welcome. This is Manifest More Abundance Now, a 90-minute workshop to teach you how to manifest more abundance in your life. Before we get started with the presentation, I know there's a lot of new faces that might not know me very well, so I just wanted to actually start with a brief bio. My name is Kitty Coy. I am a neuroscientist. I graduated from CU Boulder. I have a master's degree in integrative physiology, which is study of the body. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I have my minor and my another degree in neuroscience. So I worked for 10 years as a behavioral neuroscience researcher. That's just a fancy way of saying I studied how your brain affects your behavior, and your behavior actually changes the structure of your brain. After 10 years working in neuroscience, I split off and became a magnetic mind coach. You'll learn all about the magnetic mind method today because it's actually the process of becoming a manifesting machine. But I help people get crystal clear in what they want in their lives, use neuroscience to release their resistance to having it. And resistance could look like fear, self doubt, procrastination, unworthiness. But once you know what you want, you release the resistance to having it. All you need to do is get into action and you become a magnet for your dreams and desires. So I teach people how to have magnetic minds. I am certified in meditation, mindset, superconscious recoding, NLP, you name it. If it's a certification around neuroscience, I probably already have it. And so I personally am a manifesting machine. In the last 3 years, I've manifested 10 of my lifetime bucket list achievements. And my manifestation journey really started like really noticing how powerful my manifestation powers were in April 2018. We had just bought a home a month earlier. And so we went to the Denver Home Expo to just check out what was available and all these new services and things like that. It was a beautiful April day, and I'm strolling around with my husband. And so as we're walking through, this one particular booth catches my eye. And there are hundreds of booths, and there are, hundreds of vendors and 20,000 people walking around the Denver Home Expo that day. And this one particular booth catches my eye, and they're giving away 100 Home Depot gift certificates, each of which are worth $500. And so I have some experience manifesting door prizes and things in the past. So I was like, I'm going to win one of those $500 Home Depot gift certificates. We could really use it to support us in upgrading this house we just bought. So as I'm filling out this form, there was a little box at the bottom. It said, check this box if you want to be entered in the grand prize. Each day, one person will win the grand prize of a 1 week paid vacation trip to Mexico for two at an all-inclusive resort. And so, of course, I checked the box. Heck yes, but I'm really going for that Home Depot gift certificate. I put my that little form in their box. I walk away and completely forget that I fill it out. A couple days goes by and my phone rings. Ring, ring. Kitty, you won an all-inclusive paid vacation trip to Mexico. It's me. Out of 20,000 people, only one person won, and it's me. And so that is when I realized I had figured out the protocol on how to be a manifesting machine. And so today I'm going to teach you not only the protocol of how to be a manifesting machine, we're going to briefly go over the quantum physics and neuroscience of manifestation, because when you understand how things work, it's a little bit easier to utilize them. We're going to talk about the number one myth in manifestation and the challenges we may face in manifestation. Then we're also going to go through specifically some processes around how to manifest more abundance and a neuroscience-based process to actually permanently upgrade your relationship with money. And then I'll just take you through all of these steps, everything you need to know to manifest more money. And I want to share, this is the third time I've done this presentation. And out of the very first one is the statistics I'm remembering off the top of my head. There was 8 people there. And within 1 week, 5 of them messaged me and said, Kitty, you would not believe the unexpected money I got within 1 week of this presentation. So you guys are in for a treat. And with that, we'll get rocking and rolling. So, like I said, I'm a manifesting machine, but surprise, you're also a manifesting machine. You're already manifesting all of the time. But the question is, are you manifesting your deepest desires and wildest dreams, or are you sometimes manifesting your worst nightmares? Because I find when we're manifesting, sometimes we manifest good things and sometimes we manifest our deepest fears into our life. So I just want to start by sharing with you, you are already a manifesting machine. That is one step down. And now I'm going to teach you how to be a manifesting machine consistently for your dreams. All right. So before we get any farther, I just want to get on the same page of what is manifestation. Manifestation is the process of turning your thoughts into things, like thinking about something you want to create in your life. And I forget who said this, but everything is created twice. Once in your mind and once in the 3D world. So the more we can think about something in our mind that we want to create and visualize it, get in alignment with receiving it, the more consistently we can create that outcome in the 3D physical world. And Albert Einstein said this quote almost 100 years ago, and I absolutely love it. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. All you need to do is match the frequency of the reality you want to create, and you cannot help but create it. This is not a philosophy. This is quantum physics. So as we get rocking and rolling, I just want to share, there is a handout in the chat. If anybody is able to copy that and drop it in the chat for me, that's great. For anybody just joining in. And if you want to keep your questions for now to the chat, and at the end, we'll open up for questions. We'll just keep rocking and rolling. And again, you don't need the handout to be successful. It's just, I'm going to give you a lot of information. So if you want to follow along in the handout, you're welcome to. All right, we're going to talk about the quantum physics behind manifestation. And don't worry, this is quantum physics for kindergartners, so you're not going to get overwhelmed. The number one scientific phenomenon that explains how manifestation works is, and let me see if because I might be able to drop the link in the handout. Yes, okay, cool. I was able to get it. There we go. The number one scientific phenomenon that explains manifestation is called the double slit experiment. And before we get started too much, I just want to share that these pictures are not a trick of Zoom. It's the same magnification on both sides. And so the double slit experiment was basically scientists wanted to understand, what does an electron look like? And like, what is it shaped like? What is it made of? And so they created a machine that fired an individual electron through a gold sheet that had two slits in it onto a piece of photoreactive paper. And images of this photoreactive paper are what you see on the screen here. And so they started up this machine and they were watching it fire individual electrons, and they were all so eager that they were watching the electron machine while it was firing. And it showed up in this observed pattern that you see on the left. And so they were, proving that electrons are particles, because this is a particle pattern. It went through one slit primarily. And then they did it again and again, and it kept showing up as observed. Then they turned it on and went to lunch. And they came back and the results had changed, even though they'd repeated it again and again while they were watching it. When nobody was watching it, it showed up as on the right-hand side, which is not observed. This is a wave pattern. And they're like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. So they started repeating this scientific experiment again and again. It's actually been going for 98 years continuously, so they can understand the edges of how and why it works. So when a human is watching the electron firing machine live, it shows up as observed. When an animal, and they did a variety of animals, when animals watch, it shows up as not observed. When they have computers, robots, or AI watch the electron firing machine, it shows up as not observed. And if they have if they made a recording and then later, but not like live time, later, many hours or many days later, or even 10 minutes later, after the machine has been working, a human watches the recording, it shows up as not observed. And this is my favorite variation that they had. They set up a live stream. And so the electron firing machine was going while somebody was watching it, but that person was like 3,000 or 5,000 miles away on the other side of the earth. And the electron firing machine knew that it was being watched live time, even though that person was so many thousands of miles away, and shows up as observed. So, what does that share with you is electrons act differently when they're consciously observed. When a human is watching them, they're actually, it's called the observer effect. The observer actually changes the outcome by physically watching the experiment happen. So, what does that mean for manifestation? Your consciousness affects matter and changes the outcome in the 3D world. And the good news about this is if your consciousness can actually change the outcome, that means observing your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors actually changes the outcome. And so let's talk about how this relates to manifesting more money. If what you want is more money and you say, I'm going to take some basic courses to understand like consistent compounding action, how to be smarter with my money. I'm going to change the thoughts I have around money and change the words I use around money. I'm going to, improve my emotions around money and change my behaviors around money. You're actually increasing the likelihood that you're going to receive more money in the 3D world because you're changing your emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. And the opposite is true as well. If you're wanting to increase more money, but let's say you repeat your money avoiding behaviors, or you don't take any action at all in your money, it's less likely you're going to get the outcome that you desire. So this is just a brief explanation of the quantum physics of how manifestation works. If you want to dig into quantum physics, I'm happy to dig into it more a little bit later. Now we're going to move on to the neuroscience aspect of manifestation. So everything is energy. That's all there is to it. And Albert Einstein said so. I'm willing to trust him as an expert on quantum physics. And if everything is energy, that means each thought, each belief, and each emotion has its own energy associated with it. So, as a frame of reference, you have 80,000 thoughts a day on average. You can have tens of thousands of beliefs at any given time. And there are 128 emotions you can cycle through, and you can go through each and every one of them dozens of times in a day. So, together, all of your thoughts, all of your emotions, all of your beliefs, because they each have an energy, they actually create an energetic field around you. HeartMath has actually measured it. This photo is from HeartMath. And this is what your energetic field looks like. The average person's energetic field is 3 to 6 feet outside of you. I have a big energy field when it was measured by HeartMath. Mine is actually 16 feet each way around me, which if you know me personally, you'll get to know me in a minute. People describe me as having a big energy. That's actually true. I have a 16-foot energy field on each direction. So this field is called a torus, but again, this field is just created by the energy you're putting out with your thoughts and your beliefs and your emotions. And like attracts like. So whatever emotions you have, you are putting out into your field, you're attracting things that will create and reinforce that emotion. So let's talk about when you have a good day. When you have a good day and you're feeling fantastic, you're putting out the good day vibes, thoughts like, wow, what a good day it is, your feel good emotions of happiness or contentment. And you are actually putting out the energy that pulls in things that are going to make you have a good day. And so, and think about the last time you had a good day. Like, I know the last time I had a good day, I was like, everything is spectacular. So many things are going right for me today. But unfortunately, the same is true when you're having a bad day. When you wake up on the wrong side of bed, you spill coffee on your shirt after you've left the house and it's too late to fix it. You hit every red light, you're late, your inbox is full, your boss is mad at you, whatever that is. But you're then having these thoughts and emotions, I'm having a bad day. And your energetic field doesn't know good or bad or right or wrong. It just attracts more of what you already are feeling inside of you. So it says, okay, you're having a bad day. I'll bring you more things that will make you have a bad day. Because again, it has no judgment of what's like right or wrong or good or bad. It just responds to the energy you're putting out by bringing more things that will keep you in that exact same energy. And if like attracts like, then love attracts love. So before we get started, let's just take a minute to peek at this chart. This is created by Dr. David Hawkins. It's the map of consciousness, but really it's a chart of the frequency of emotions. And he wrote about this in a book called Power versus Force. I don't have time today to get into how he found the frequencies of these emotions, but just notice first that each emotion has its own energy associated with it. So, like, guilt is 30, fear is 100, courage is 200, acceptance is 350, love is 500, peace is 600. And notice that there's no such thing, before I get started, there's no such thing as a good or a bad emotion, because every emotion has a space and a role to play in your life. And so when you have, absolutely, when you have these different emotions that are coming up, you're feeling you're feeling whatever that emotion is, but the emotions you want to be in and spend more time in have these higher frequency numbers. So like this is literally the hertz, the frequency associated with it. And these lower level emotions like grief and shame and guilt they have a lower number, and they actually attract lower energy things, because remember, your energy field is just attracting more of more of what you are is going to be attracted to you. So the goal is, I want you to feel your emotions. Like if you've had a grief or you're in a place of fear and anxiety, allow that emotion to be present, because whatever we resist persists. So if you resist feeling your emotion, then it's going to last longer. Fun fact is, Dr. Joe Dispenza has shown with his research, emotions only last 2 minutes max. And when I first read that, I was like, I've certainly sat in emotions for months, if not years. So I had a hard time believing that. But the neurotransmitters of emotions only last in your system 1.5 to 2 minutes. So what happens is when we are stuck feeling the same emotion again and again, it's because of one of two reasons. Either we're resisting, we don't want to feel the emotion, we're pushing it away, or we are so familiar in feeling that emotion, we like wrap it around us like a security blanket, even if it's guilt. If we felt a lot of guilt in our lives, this will be a very comfortable place for us to sit. Because again, the superconscious and the subconscious, all these levels of your consciousness just recreate more of what you've experienced in your life. But we want to have these high vibrational things in our life. And so I know when I was in the honeymoon stage of my relationship with my husband, my life was spectacular. I was living in this place of love, and people walked up, they wanted to be friends with me. I got an unexpected promotion in my job, which had no promotion ability, but they found a way to create a promotion for me. All of these good things happened because I was living in this place of love, putting out a frequency of 500 hertz, attracting more things that kept me in the frequency of love. And I just wanted to share that, like I said, you might be in, like, there's times where I dip into fear. Even yesterday, I had a place where I dipped into fear for a minute. But when you allow yourself to feel your emotions, you can transform them quickly. And when you want to transform them, the answer is gratitude. You might notice that gratitude actually isn't listed in this chart. But gratitude is actually measured at a frequency of 900, which is way up here in enlightenment. And the frequency of abundance is 888, also in enlightenment. But notice there's only a 12 hertz difference between gratitude and abundance. So the more you can be in gratitude in your life, the closer you are to being in the frequency of abundance. So let's say you're in a place of fear, but you're ready to transform it. Gratitude is the answer. And you can literally raise your vibration, is what people say in our common vernacular. But what they're saying is you can increase the frequency of the emotion that you're feeling and transmitting by feeling gratitude, because it's basically your general emotional energy is like the sum of the minutes you're in the emotion. So like if you spend 90% of the minutes of your life, your waking life, in grief, you're going to be pretty close to 75 as your emotional frequency. And so if you can add 900 to that average, it might bring you up, for 900 for a few minutes while you're doing the gratitude exercise, you'll be at 900, but then you might settle in at 500 in this place of love. So the more that we can practice gratitude, And the fun thing about gratitude is when you practice it regularly, you'll actually stay in that emotional state for longer and longer after you finish. So if you start by being in this place of gratitude for 5 minutes, you'll be here for 5 minutes. But if you keep practicing that gratitude exercise, let's say for an entire week, then you'll spend up to an hour in this place of gratitude, literally raising your emotional vibration. So I just wanted to go through the neuroscience portion. So now we'll get rocking and rolling. About the number one myth in manifestation is propagated by books, a book and the movie called The Secret, right, by Rhonda Byrne. And she's an amazing woman and I love what she did in that book, but she left out one step. It was implied. And so popular media kind of distorted her idea and created this thought that all you need to do is think positive thoughts and you'll bring positive things into your life. Well, I just said that was true a little bit a moment ago when I said I was in this place of love and I was attracting these things because I was at a frequency of 500. I attracted more things at a frequency of 500. But if you want to bring something specific into your life, you have to take action towards what you want to create. Because you can meditate, you could sit in your living room for the next 25 years and meditate on a lake house and raise your vibration, be in this high emotional state, visualizing this lake house. But it is highly unlikely, no matter how many years you meditate and think good thoughts about the lake house, someone's going to walk in your front door and hand you the deed to the lake house. You got to get out of your house and take action. Find a broker, figure out where you want to, like which lake you want to live at. All of these things, you need to take action in the 3D world. And I want to share with you the story about my clinic. And so that's my husband and I taking a photo in front of the clinic, high-fiving a couple years ago. And I had been wanting to open this clinic for many, many years, but I kept not taking action. And I had a coach that was like, oh my gosh, when are you going to open your clinic? As a frame of reference, it was May 5th, 2020. And most of the wellness centers were closed in Denver. They were barely opening back up. So I gave her this laundry list of 10 minutes of excuses why I couldn't open a clinic right now. And she said to me, so what was your excuse 6 months ago? And I was like, feeling really called out. And she said, if this is your dream, you have to take action on it. So I meditated, I reflected, I was like, oh my gosh, I could use my project management skills to help a chiropractor, let's say another wellness practitioner, open their own clinic, like reopen. I'll handle the PPE, protective equipment, all the paperwork, all the regulations for safety that COVID created, and they can just work on healing their clients. So I got clear that I wanted this, volunteer position, but I wanted it to be three things. Within 15 minutes of my house, I wanted it to be 3 to 5 hours a week, and I wanted this person to be invested in my success. I was trading my most valuable resource, time, in exchange for mentorship and how to open the clinic. So I wanted that person to be as committed to my success as I was going to be committed to them. And so how do you get a job? I was like, because I decided what I wanted. Now I had to take my action step. I was like, well, how do you get a job? I guess I'll write a resume. So I wrote this resume detailing my project management experience. And I went through and didn't really have a plan of what to do next, but at least I'd written the resume. 3 days later, and I find myself in a one-to-one connect from a networking group, meeting with a woman I had met 2 or 3 years earlier, but hadn't really spoken to since. And I ended the call with, how can I support you? And she looked at me and said, do you know anybody who wants to manage a wellness center? I was like, maybe. So, and she's like, it's 14 minutes from your house. It's 3 to 5 hours a week. And I'm moving my business to Arizona at some point, and I want somebody to take over managing my clinic for me. And open, basically I'm going to move her. So open a new business in this location when she leaves. I was like, oh, it's me. She hired me on the spot. What I want you to hear in that story is no one to this day has ever seen that resume. So I took an action in the 3D world, but it wasn't the right action. It wasn't the most effective action to get what I wanted. It was just the best action I could think of at the time. So the next time you get stuck in analysis paralysis, just remember, it doesn't have to be a perfect action. You just need to take some action And in your variety of options you have in front of you, take the option that seems best. Because I took one step towards my dream and my dream took 1,000 steps towards me. But I've seen this happen time and time again. And I'll give you some real life examples of people as we go through this presentation that were able to utilize this principle as well. So we're going to go through the 4 major challenges around manifestation and how to address each and every one of them. So the first one is that we get too attached to a specific outcome or a specific path. And I got stuck in this a pothole. I think about these challenges as potholes on the road to manifesting your dreams. I got stuck in this pothole. I really wanted to go to this trip to Greece. And we were getting really, I'd been wanting to go for 14 years on this specific adventure. And we got really close to going in 2023 and then decided it wasn't in financial alignment to keep going. And so we actually canceled the trip last minute. And I was devastated. I got clear. I wanted to manifest this trip and I was going to do whatever it takes. So I started looking my own manifestation processes with a fine-tooth comb. And I had this manifestation power statement. I want more money in my business. I want to make more money in my business. And I was so attached to the idea of making money in my business. It was like I was looking through binoculars at just one channel of abundance in my life. And I was doing all these practices and exercises, and although abundance was going up, it was going incremental. And so I was feeling the emotion that created because I was binoculars stuck on the thing that was not bringing me joy and was not working the way I wanted it to. I started getting these emotions of anxiety and fear. So then I literally decreased my vibration because I was so attached to money coming through the path. That's where I was when we had to cancel the vacation. So I changed my manifestation power statement, and I'll share what that is in a couple slides. But I let go of the in my business, and I just said, I choose to create more abundance. End of story. And by doing that, I put down the binoculars. And I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. How else am I going to make money besides my business? Like, it didn't make sense, but I just dropped off the in my business. And what do you know? Opportunities came out left and right, all over the place to support me in generating the income I needed for this trip. And I had priced out that it was going to be $6,000. And in 8 months, I generated $6,000 outside of my business. And 14,000 unexpected dollars inside of my business. So in 8 months, 22,000 unexpected dollars simply by cutting off the in my business. But why that really worked is I put down the binoculars and I just said, I have abundance around me already. I am open and willing to receive abundance in all ways. And so I started noticing the money I received, or I found on the sidewalk, money I found underneath. I had it started with 17 cents on a stack in my desk, and then $1 or a $5 bill I'd find on the sidewalk. But then I started finding $100 bills on the sidewalk. I found multiple $100 bills on the sidewalk. People started walking up and giving me $300 for no reason. And I could go on for hours to tell you all the crazy ways I found money just by letting go of the only receive money in my business mindset. Letting that go allowed me to receive money in every other way as well. Another challenge we face around manifestation is it's not a real desire. And we're going to dig really deep into this today because money is not a real desire. And yet we're all here because we want to attract more abundance. And so the problem, money is a vehicle. Money is not a desire. Money is a vehicle that gets us to the destination, but it's not a destination. What you want is whatever that money is going to get you. And so money is just, it doesn't matter. So another way to say it is like, if we think about what we want to manifest as a destination, a road trip, and we're like so busy waiting for the horse-drawn carriage that we're not even noticing that we're in a parking lot that are of super fast cars that are like race cars that have the keys in the ignition. They're fully gassed up. They're ready for us to get in the car. But we're so busy looking for the horse-drawn carriage, we can't even see that there's a race car waiting to take us to our dreams. And the thing about money and where we get stuck is it's a problem-solving mindset. We want abundance because we're sick of having not abundance. We're sick of being broke. We're sick of living paycheck to paycheck. And in that way, we're trying to move away from something we don't want instead of moving towards something we do want. And again, in that road trip analogy, it's saying, I'm going somewhere, I'm going to drive, but I'm only going to look in the rear view mirror. I'm never going to look in the windshield. How far would you get if you were only ever looking in the rear view mirror? So we want to get clear in what is our real desire. And that's what you want with no secondary intention. You want it because you want it. And for me, it was that trip to Greece. I wanted to go to Greece because I wanted to go to Greece. There was no ulterior motive or secondary intention behind it. I just wanted to go to Greece. So that's the second challenge we face, is that we're focused on not the real desire, and often we're focused on the vehicle or the how we're going to get there instead of where we're going. The third challenge we face around manifestation is we don't yet have the identity of the version of us that has abundance already. Like, we do not have the identity of a wealthy person or a rich person. And oftentimes we actually have a belief that, money is the root of all evil, or filthy rich, or all of those, money doesn't grow on trees. All of those negative beliefs have pushed us away from the idea of even wanting to be rich, because we don't want to be filthy. We don't want to be the root of all evil. And so I want to tell you really quickly about a story about a man in a boat. And this is a real life story from my mentor. And he was working with this guy, a high level entrepreneur in Australia, who had this very, made 10, upper six figures. But he bought his lake house. That was his dream. But then his next dream was to buy a boat. He wanted a $250,000 speedboat. And he couldn't seem to make the money, because every time he got close to getting the deposit, he would make all this money. His car would break down and he would lose everything. Or so he would make a bunch of money and he'd have a problem in his business and he would lose that money. How many put yes in the chat if that's happened to you in your life, where you're getting so close to your goal, so close, and then it slips through your fingers? I know for me, this was a very real problem. Every time I paid off my credit card, within 7 days, my Jeep would break down and cost thousands of dollars. And I would pay off the credit card, and then my Jeep would break down. I would get so close to having what I want, and then it seemingly slipped through my fingers, because I didn't have the identity of a person that didn't have any credit card debt. And so your mind, remember, like attracts like. I had this emotion, this energy, this belief system around being in debt. So what did I do? I put out the vibes, more debt, more debt, more debt, and just kept attracting more and more debt to me. But back to the guy in the boat. So he wanted this $250,000 speedboat, and he had been working so hard and he couldn't seem to do it. So he hired my mentor, and he told my mentor everything, his whole story, all his problems. And my mentor was like, oh, that's easy. I can help. Go buy a kayak. And the guy's like, no, I don't want a kayak. I want a $250,000 speedboat, and was like talking about the boat features. And my mentor lovingly said, shut up and buy a kayak. And so the guy went and spent $500 of his savings on a kayak, and what the heck, took it out. And then he started noticing, oh my gosh, I love being on the water. And he went out boating every single day, because in reality, his real desire, yeah, he wanted a boat, but this specific boat, but the boat was a vehicle. His real desire was he wanted to spend a bunch of time on this lake, this beautiful lake that he lived on. He just wanted to experience it. So he started kayaking every single day. And lo and behold, he had been working for 10 years trying to build abundance in his business. And after he bought this kayak, he started making more money in his business, and more money and more money. And so he upgraded his kayak to a dinghy. And then he upgraded, like a rowboat. He upgraded his rowboat to a little motorboat. And I don't know the levels of boat, but he literally went from a $500 boat to a $1,000 boat to a $10,000 boat to a $50,000 boat to a $100,000 boat to a $250,000 boat in 18 months. You know why? He had the identity of a boat owner. And you're like I said, your subconscious, it works to keep you safe. So he had this energy and emotion and this belief, I am a boat owner. So it doesn't matter if you own a motorized boat or a not motorized boat, it's the same to your subconscious mind. So as soon as he created the identity of what he wanted, he was able to attract it and his goals came easily. And then the fourth challenge we face around manifestation is that we're out of alignment. And simply put, this is the number one block on manifesting. We don't feel worthy of we don't feel worthy or deserving of our dream. And basically, another way to say this, and I think I have it in a slide coming up, is that your thoughts and desires are you want to be abundant, but maybe you have a childhood of living paycheck to paycheck. I know I certainly was the only child of a single parent mom. We absolutely lived paycheck to paycheck. So my emotions and my beliefs, my nervous system is coded for scarcity, and my thoughts and desires are abundant. And I like to, when we're out of alignment, it's like we're fishing with a fishing pole. And, the fancy ones that break in half for travel. And when we're out of alignment, this is not a very effective way to cast out our hook and reel in our desire. So we need to get in alignment, our thoughts and desires, release. And that's what we're going to do today using neuroscience. We're going to release our resistance to receiving money to get in alignment with our desires. Because when you snap in your fishing pole, when your thoughts and desires match your emotions and beliefs around money, all you need to do is cast out with your vision, create in your mind what you want to create, and take action. That's like reeling it in. And lo and behold, when you take one step towards your dream can take 1,000 steps towards you. But here's the problem. Traumas, limiting beliefs, all of this stuff is consistently keeping us out of alignment. And like I said, I started this off by saying you're already a manifesting machine. But unfortunately, you're manifesting what you subconsciously believe that you deserve. And you know what you believe you deserve because look around. It's what you already have in your life. This is what you believe that you deserve. So we're in this place, and it's really a catch-22. I like to call it the silo of scarcity, because our limiting beliefs and all of this emotional garbage and traumas and all this is what's keeping us out of alignment. But if you remember about the what I was saying earlier, is it's problem-solving mindset is trying to drive to your destination by only looking in the rearview mirror. So if we try and go, I'm going to fix this I'm going to heal this trauma, I'm going to eliminate this limiting belief, we're simply putting attention and energy on what we don't want. And when you go after the problem, your focus is on what's not working. And so that's your energy that you're putting out is not working, not working. Here's what's not working. You're just going to attract more of what's not working. So the catch-22 is what's holding you back is these traumas and limiting beliefs, but the sheer act of trying to go to fix them is what keeps you stuck in the place, because you could play whack-a-mole with getting rid of your limiting beliefs forever. And I love personal development, but there's a lot of personal development that like Tony Robbins, for example, again, not hating, but just like a name, he has a $100 million machine in his business that works by keeping you stuck in the thought process that you need to get rid of the next limiting belief and then you can get what you want. And you know that you're in problem-solving mindset, which, by the way, you can't manifest from problem-solving mindset. Problem-solving mindset, it says, when I XYZ, then I can have what I want. When I get rid of unworthiness, then I'll make the money I desire. When I lose the weight, then I can love myself. But our focus is on losing weight, unworthy. And we can play whack-a-mole. And especially, let's bring it back to money. When I feel worthy, then I'll have what I want. You'll fix your worthiness, but you still haven't taken action on what you want. So you're still in this place of, even though you've fixed your unworthiness, then you won't see results until you take action. So then you'll just fix another limiting belief and another limiting belief and another limiting belief. And you get stuck in the silo of scarcity, because the catch-22 is that by going after your limiting beliefs, you keep yourself stuck in them. So what I'm encouraging you, and just be open-minded about this, because this is not what most people are saying. And this what sets me apart is you're not broken. There's nothing about you that needs to be fixed. You are exactly the way you're meant to be right now, and you don't need to fix something about you to have your goals and your vision. Whatever you want to create, you can have it now. All you need to do is take action on your dream. So get clear, and we'll talk about what the steps on that are in a minute, but get clear on what you want and go for it. And when you go for what you want, you're driving looking in the windshield. Sure, there may be roadblocks and obstacles that pop up along the way, but if we can just go for what we want, and then if we hit a roadblock, we'll just trust, if you can trust that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And this is, I've literally shifted my entire mindset around this, and and so has my clients, and it's proven time and time again. If you just keep going for what you want and you find an obstacle, oh gosh, I really do need to let go of this negative emotion around money, then you will find a webinar like you're on today where we're going to permanently upgrade your relationship with money. When you're ready, when you're ready and you get to that obstacle, something will appear that will help you. So instead of spending all of your time trying to clear all the obstacles before you ever take a step, why not just go for your dream and trust that as you release obstacles, new information will appear so you can step into what you want. So this is the steps on how you can start manifesting. And by the way, for anybody who's jumping in a little bit late, there's a handout. If you want to follow along, you don't have to. It just it has a fill in the blank section if you desire that. So this is, again, written in your notes. There's 4 steps to start manifesting. Step number 1 is get clear on your real desire. This is something you want because you want it. There's no secondary intention. It's not, I want abundance because that will make me free. It's no, I want to go to Greece because I want to go to Greece, in the example I gave. After you get clear on your real desire, by the way, I'm going to talk you through these steps. And then the next thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to take you through the steps, every one of them. We're going to visualize what you want. If what you want to go is to Greece, visualize being in Greece each and every day. And that was one of the things I did to change my emotions around money. I did all sorts of neuroscience-based processes that I help my clients with, but I also just visualized every day being on that trip, drinking wine in Santorini, living on a sailboat for a week. I visualized it every day. And if you struggle with visualization, I'm happy to help. We can talk at the end. Visualization is a misnomer because you don't have to be able to see things in your mind to visualize. Like blind people can visualize and they can't see anything. So visualization is more about getting the process of evoking a feeling of your emotions and all 5 senses. And aphantasia is real. However, every person I've ever worked with that has aphantasia, we've been able to work their way. So aphantasia, for anybody who doesn't know, is the inability to visualize in your mind with images. And so I've worked with four people that have aphantasia, and every single one of them can visualize regardless of not ever, they either get to a place where they can play movies in their mind, or we find another way to visualize for them. Because again, you don't have to be able to see anything to be able to visualize successfully. So I just wanted to share that. But because visualization isn't about sight or seeing a movie, it's about being able to get into your senses. It's being able to daydream about something that you want in whatever way works. So like, for example, if people don't see things, they'll like in their mind, when they close their eyes, they'll draw a picture of it. Or there's all these ways, but it's about getting into the senses and specifically getting into the emotion of what it feels like to have it. And the reason why visualization is so powerful is your subconscious can't tell the difference between the media that you consume, visualization, and the reality, like the 3D world outside of you. Your subconscious can't tell the difference. So, side note tangent, be very thoughtful about the media you're consuming because your brain thinks it's real. I had a friend who had severe anxiety and I'd known her for years, but then we were having this conversation. She's like, well, I listen to these murder podcasts, serial killer podcasts. And I was like, and no wonder you have anxiety. And then she was like, well, but I love them and the mystery and the whatever. I was like, so read some like other mystery books. And so I challenged her to, I was like, just don't listen to the murder podcast for a month. And guess what? Her anxiety went down dramatically, like 90%. Because whatever media you're consuming, subliminal messaging is real and you're programming that into your mind. But the good news is you can use that to your advantage when you visualize in whatever way it works for you, you're tricking your subconscious mind into thinking you have it now. And it's just like the man and the boat, he built the identity. Yes, he did buy a boat, but you can build the identity of having it now by visualizing it. And that's what I did with the clinic example I gave. I had visualized it so many times, my subconscious thought I already owned a clinic and it didn't know the difference. So as soon as I took action, I received exactly what I desired. So the third step in manifestation is to release your resistance. Today we're going to do that faster and easier with neuroscience, but you can do this. The more you visualize, you'll actually naturally release resistance. But you could do EFT, emotion code. You can do any technique that just you can do gratitude journaling that will help you release resistance. Any mindset improving process, generally speaking, supports you in effortlessly releasing resistance. And again, you're not doing gratitude so that you can get rid of your unworthiness. You're doing gratitude to feel grateful. So releasing resistance is simply saying getting your beliefs and emotions in alignment with your desires. And then the fourth step is just take action. And remember from my story with the clinic, any action will do. So these are the 4 steps on how to manifest. I'm actually going to take you through these steps. But before we get started, I alluded to this earlier, the best manifestation power statement you can ever have. This is a different way to say like affirmation. There's a lot of science showing affirmations are good, but there's a lot of neuroscience showing that affirmations don't work. I am wealthy. No, you're not. Like there's parts of you that will fight it. And so manifestation power statement shifts, and I'm not going to get into too deeply why it's I choose versus I am, but I choose to receive more abundance. Or maybe I like to say attract. I choose to attract more abundance. This is the most powerful manifestation power statement that you can have. And so I recommend it. Put it on your lock screen, put it on the back of your laptop, put it on sticky notes all over your house, or pretty pictures that say, I choose to receive more abundance. And with that, let's actually go through the steps of getting connecting or going through the steps of manifesting. And the first one is getting to our real desire. So you won the lottery. What would you do if you won $1 million today? But there's a caveat, couple. You can't pay off debt. You can't give it away to somebody else or a worthy organization. And you can't invest it in the stock market, in a retirement account. You can't invest it in another type of financial account. So just take a minute, because in order to go to the next step, you need to answer this question. If you won $1 million today, what would you do with it? And if you want to put it in the chat, I would love, and while you're thinking about it, I'm happy to share my answer. I would invest in better systems in my business, because you can invest in something. So like I would invest in I have 2 part-time assistants. I would invest in a full-time employee. I would invest in some softwares that would support me in leveling up their business. I would invest in a marketing team in my business. The first thing I would do is buy a bunch of plane tickets to go all over the world. I would renovate my kitchen. I would get an RV. So I just wanted to share, that's how I would spend $1 million. And if you want to pop in, if you feel like sharing, I would love to know in the chat, how do you answer this question? If you want $1 million today, but you can't pay off debt, you can't give it away, and you can't invest it, what are you going to buy? Buy land, motorcycles, build the land of your dreams, go to the Netherlands and Thailand, and RV. Love it. And again, something I want to share too. It doesn't have to be tangible. So like sometimes people get hung up on that and they're like, well, but I love my house. I don't need an RV. I don't want a new motorcycle or car. So it doesn't have to be a tangible thing for you to be able to for you to invest in it. You'd renovate your house, buy that new car that you saw today. I love it. When you win $1 million. By the way, it's not if I win $1 million, it's when you win $1 million. So I love it. Thank you all for sharing. So, however you answered this question is important. And this is in your workbook, your handout, if you want to open that up, but we're not going to dig into these questions yet. But when you're looking at why do you want that thing? You'd plan a vacation to travel for 6 months, buy a house that fits perfectly, and a second home in the mountain for getaways. Invest in relationships by traveling around the world. Love it. So that's the type of investing you can do. Thank you for sharing. And so just let's take a second and answer the question, why do you want that? Those things that you just said, why do you want them? And just take a minute to make note. And whatever you wrote down, another way to ask this before I jump into that is, what does it mean to you? Why is it important to you? Just why do you want that? It's all just different ways to ask the same question. And then, however you answered that question, whatever you wrote down, why do you want that? Why is that important to you? And keep going at least 2 more times. And again, I want to get to the neuroscience to shift and upgrade your relationship with money. So we don't have a lot of time to wait on this, but please make a note to come back or maybe hang out for a few minutes after the call and write down, what do you want? How would you invest your $1 million? Or what would you buy with your $1 million? What does that mean to you? And what does that mean to you? And what does that mean to you? Because we want to drill down into your deepest desire. And we'll talk about why that's so important in just a moment. But you want to get, like, technically the exercise is called the why that makes you cry. And I will provide, with the recording of this that's going out, I will provide the worksheet and you actually dig in 7 different times. And so you just keep digging and then you just keep digging and then you just keep digging. And eventually you want to get to something that like chokes you up and makes you emotional. And that's how you know you're in a root desire. I love it. Someone says that they're already crying, digging into that. I love that. That means you're so close. You're either at the root or you're so close to the root of your desire that emotions come out. So that's a really good thing. Thank you so much for sharing. We want to be in the place with the why that makes me cry. And so when I was doing this with my trip to Greece, it was like, I want to do this trip to Greece. Why does that matter to me? It's important for me to see the world and adventure and see different cultures and eat new foods. But why does this specific trip matter to me? And I just kept digging into it until I was like a sobbing mess. Like, I need to go to Greece and I'll do whatever it takes to figure it out. So this $1 million question, however you answered the question, is like, why do you want that? And why do you want that? And why do you want that? However you answered that final question is what you really want in your life. And so when we're focused on manifesting more abundance, again, we're looking at the vehicle. We're not looking at the destination. And so if what you want is a big property with a home of your dreams, it doesn't matter. Like if we get so hung up on, I have to make the money, and when I make the money, then I can have the home of my dreams. We're so busy looking at the mechanism that we're not actually focused on the goal, the destination we want to go to. So focusing on that destination, the real reason behind what we want, allows us to get to this root desire, and it makes it a lot easier and clearer to manifest. Because again, when you know what you want, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. All the time, I just want to share, I feel compelled to share. My business, basically, before I was a magnetic mind coach, I was doing a mix of life coaching and health coaching and a bunch of different modalities. I was still a neuroscientist, but didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do in coaching. And during COVID, my business basically fizzled and disappeared overnight because I had everybody on a month-to-month plan. All of my clients basically freaked out. They didn't know what was happening. And so every single one of my clients quit within 30 days. And they were like, it's nothing to do with you. I'm too stressed. I'm too afraid. And so my business disappeared. And I was like, well, I'm going to sit in the place. Like, I'm safe enough. I have some money in savings. My husband makes it, we're comfortable-ish. And what are we going to do? Can't travel or go anywhere or spend money on the things that I was going to spend money on. So I just trusted that it would be okay and enjoyed my life and let myself play and have fun. Of course, kept investing in my business, but there was quite a few months where I had zero clients and was making zero money. And it's the craziest thing. I was playing a game on my phone, and it was a puzzle game, and you got like a couple extra moves in the puzzle game if you watched a 30-second video. But I was ready to transform my life. And so I watched this 30-second video. I found my mentor, and it was a 30-second video. I watched a 30-minute video and immediately signed up for the $10,000 certification program because I was ready. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so if you can borrow that belief and just stand in that place, whenever you get clear in what you want and where you're going, the how will appear. And I see this time, it's not just me that I'm special. I see this time and time again in my clients. So briefly, before we get into the neuroscience, I want to talk about the 7 things you can't manifest, because I guarantee when you're drilling into why you want it, they came up. You cannot manifest abundance from scarcity. And you can't plant a forest of abundance with a seed of scarcity. If you want something, you have to be in the energy of already having it. Like if what we want is abundance because we're sick of being broken, living paycheck to paycheck, you can't plant broke seeds and expect abundant trees to grow. And these 7 things, you can't manifest them because if you felt like you already have them, you wouldn't want to manifest them. And so the 7 things you can't manifest is comfort, control, freedom, independence, safety, stability, and security. And I'll pause here. We had somebody who just jumped in. If you want to follow along in the notes, you're welcome to do that. I'll give you a second. You're not required to use the notes, but they could be helpful because there's a lot of information. So I'll give you a second to write these 7 things down because it matters. These 7 things you cannot manifest. And the fact that you want freedom prevents you from getting it. Because again, we're in this catch-22. If you had freedom, you wouldn't want freedom. Like, I feel free. I don't want freedom. I want travel. I want fun. I want adventure. I want many things, but I don't want freedom. So the reason you can't manifest from scarcity is you want freedom and security from money, but the fact that you want the freedom and security just reinforces the belief and the block that you don't have it now. I don't have safety and security. When I have safety and security, then I can feel abundant. Problem-solving mindset. So now we're going to get into step 2 of the how to be a manifesting machine. So you want to just take a second and close your eyes. And just think about that thing you wrote down when you answered the $1 million question. Think about one aspect of it. Maybe it's a dream home. Maybe it's traveling to visit your friends, a renovated kitchen, a car. It doesn't matter. But just close your eyes and as best as you can, visualize having it. And maybe if you have a different visualization way, you can draw a picture of it. It doesn't matter. If you're not able to see it, could you sense in your mind the different senses? Like when you have this thing or this experience, what are the sounds that you would be hearing? And what are the tastes or the smells that you'd be experiencing when you have this thing, when you have your $1 million thing? And what physical sensations would be coming up? Like as you have this thing, what physical sensations do you feel? And most importantly, how does it feel? What are the emotions coming up? You have this thing, you won $1 million and you have this thing you've always dreamed of. What are the emotions that are coming up for you when you have it already? And take one more deep breath in those feelings. You get to bring all these feelings back with you. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So that is a simple, quick, traditional visualization method. Like I said, we can always talk later about other visualization methods, but just being in the emotion of already having what you want supports you in conditioning your nervous system. You're tricking your mind into thinking you already have it. You're conditioning your nervous system to being in that place. Which brings us to step number 3. This is where we're going to use neuroscience to release resistance. So this is a fancy method called, it's an NLP process called perceptual shift. But what the purpose of this exercise, what it does is it instantaneously improves your relationship with money. Like from the beginning of the process to the end of the process, you will have a better relationship with money in 10 minutes or less, or about 10 minutes. And this is a permanent improvement. Like you are permanently releasing old beliefs, old thoughts, or old emotions, whatever's just holding you back in money, you're putting it down forever. You're getting a permanent upgrade to your brain and your nervous system in money. And the result of like your experience is you're going to have a change in how you think and feel about money. And so we're going to use the statement, I choose to attract more abundance, or maybe it's I choose to receive more abundance for you. But I'm going to explain the process real briefly, and then I'll take you through it. The process is, it's called perceptual shift, sometimes called 3 chairs. So you don't need to physically move at all, but we're going to imagine sitting in 3 different chairs as 3 different beings. Us, ourselves, is going to be in chair number 1. We're going to put money in chair number 2, whatever you visualize money to be, like a visual representation of money. It could be a stack of a cash. It could be a giant check, a bag of money with a dollar sign. It doesn't matter how you visualize money, but money is going to be in seat number 2. And then however you connect to the omnipotent, to the divine, whether it's God, universe, source, angels, whatever you connect with, an omnipotent energy that knows everything is going to be in seat number 3. I'm going to take us through different steps very quickly. We're going to go through these different seats, and you're going to rate your relationship with money before and after. And I'm going to go through this quickly today on the call, but I actually recorded a 30-minute, really, really super slow version of this so you can really get in the energy, get all of the juiciness of this exercise. And I will be sure to send the recording of the longer version of this exercise with this recording. And then once you in your mind are moving through the 3 chairs, I'm going to go through what's called a superconscious recode. I'm providing new operating instructions to your a level of your consciousness, and the experience is what it feels like for you, or is it sounds like gibberish and silence. Like you're hearing me, I'm giving codes, and it's all English, but the words don't make sense in a sentence. And then I sit in silence for a few moments while your consciousness is is entering the code of the new operating command I'm giving it, and then we'll take it through this. So with that, the only thing I need from you is to say either out loud or in your head, I give Kitty permission to connect to my superconscious. Yeah, just put it in the chat too. I give Kitty permission to connect to my superconscious. So just close your eyes and fast forward to the future moment in time where you have won that $1 million, being in the energy we were in a minute ago, the emotions. And fast forward to this time, you have $1 million. Notice, what does your life look like? What does your life feel like when you have $1 million? Especially focusing on the emotions. When you have $1 million, what do you believe to be true around money? When you have $1 million, what's the internal monologue you're saying to yourself? Like, how do you talk to yourself when you have $1 million? And take a deep breath and come back to now, to the current version of you, the one sitting in your seat at this moment, and notice all the places in your life where you have scarcity. Notice all the places in your life where you feel like you do not have enough abundance. And we do this to create structural tension. It's basically saying you can't clean the dirt behind the furniture if you don't look at the dirt first, if you don't know where it is. So just let your inner critic go wild for 10 seconds as you answer this question. I want $1 million. I want to be abundant, but letting emotions, feelings, beliefs, fears all bubble to the surface. And this is all just resistance. So notice, what is your current level of resistance on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is low and 10 is high? It's the first number that pops in your mind on a scale of 1 to 10. And again, 10 is, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent next month. I don't know how I'm going to be a millionaire. My inner critic wouldn't shut up. That's a 10. It's a high level of resistance on, like, basically it's saying I have a bad relationship with money. And so whenever you have that number, you can pop it in the chat or in the Facebook post. A 1 is, I'm pretty abundant right now. I'm making close to the money I want. Not exactly. Whenever you have that number on a scale of 1 to 10, put in the chat. And by the way, it doesn't really matter where you start. You're rating this so we can give you an experience of what it's like at the end. And again, so there's no wrong answers. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, and now just close your eyes and I'm going to take you through this exercise. I'm going to take you through this exercise and going through the different steps. Follow along as best as you can. If I am talking to you, I will just say a sentence. And if I'm speaking to the superconscious, I will start the sentence with the superconscious, but don't worry, you can't do it wrong. Just follow along the best you can. So close your eyes and imagine sitting down in chair number 1, and you're sitting down looking at money. Whatever you visualize money to be, just notice it sitting in the chair across from you. And as you sit in the chair across from money, notice, what is your current attitude and energy towards money? How do you feel about money? What are some of the things that you say about money right now? What beliefs do you have about money? So just notice all of the beliefs, all of the emotions, the attitude, and the energy that you have around money now. Just notice. And we're going to imagine leaving all of the attitude, the emotions, the energy, everything we just came up with around money. We're going to imagine leaving it all in that chair. And our spirit, our essence, our energy is going to float up above our body. And we're going to float up to imagine we're sitting on the roof of the building that we're in, releasing all of our beliefs, all of our thoughts, all of emotions, just blank slate, just our spirit, our soul, our essence, our energy has let go of all energy. And imagine floating up above your house and you can actually see the whole town that you're in right now. And as you're in this town, you take a deep breath and your essence, your energy, your spirit is slowly, safely floating back down towards your house. going back to sit on the roof of the building that you're in right now. And your essence, your energy is going to come down and actually sit in seat number 2. You're going to become money. You're going to see through money's eyes. You're going to hear through money's ears. You're going to feel through money's heart. You have fully become money. So as your money, sitting in chair number 2, look at the you in chair number 1. And notice, as money, how do you feel? What is money's attitude and energy towards the you in chair number 1? What does money believe about you? What is the outcome that money wants for you? Because it's obvious you're attending this webinar. It's obvious that your desired outcome is to have a better relationship with money, to have more money. But what is money? What's their desired outcome with you? So just notice, how does money feel about you? Any beliefs, some attitudes, energy, what's coming up around money? Just notice. From money towards you. Now your spirit, your essence, your energy is going to float up above money, sitting. You're going to leave money, the attitude, the beliefs, the fears. You're going to leave all of that in chair number 2 as your essence and energy floats above chair number 2. And then you go up to the roof where you're sitting. And then as you take your next breath, you actually keep your essence and energy keeps floating up so that you can see the whole town that you live in. And with your next breath, you're going to float down softly, sweetly, gently float down with your essence and energy back to the roof that you're sitting on. And you're going to float down and you're going to sit in chair number 3. Chair number 3 is the omnipotent divine source, universal consciousness, God, universe, source, angels. It doesn't matter. But this is an omnipotent energy that knows everything. Become this omnipotent energy for just a minute. And notice, as this omnipotent energy sitting in chair number 3, look at you in chair number 1 and money in chair number 2, and just notice, is there any tension in this situation? Like, you're the mediator in this situation. Just notice any tension that is present. Notice any difference in feelings. Notice any misperceptions. Notice the attitude that each of these parties have towards each other. And as universal source consciousness, again, really feeling as universal source consciousness, you're seeing through omnipotent energy's eyes, feeling through omnipotent energy's heart, hearing through omnipotent energy's ears as you tune into this. What is obvious between these two parties? Like, what do they need to do to improve satisfaction so they can both have their desired outcome? Notice whatever that is and send that information to the prospective chairs, whatever they need to know. And you're going to float up, releasing any energy and outcomes of the omnipotent energy source. You're going to float up above seat number 3, up to the roof. And this time you're just going to take a deep breath and float right back down into seat number 1, being yourself, allowing yourself to feel all of the wisdom from this omnipotent source. And I'm going to go through a super conscious recode. This is the gibberish in silence. So just listen, just be with the energy of money, and you can visualize as best as you can, what would it or daydream, what would it be like to have a great relationship with money? Keep thinking about that as I go through these new operating instructions. Super conscious, are you there? Do all aspects and parts desire treatment? Are all aspects and parts on the treatment team? Super conscious, do you see the resistance in alignment with desire? I deserve, I commit, I trust, I am, I will, I can, I know how. Any lack of alignment with desire, tag, treat, do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in definition, broken agreements, secondary intentions, family history, and past lives? Please tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in limiting beliefs, any beliefs about ourselves, other people, the world, about money, any beliefs that are not in alignment with having overwhelming abundance? Tag and treat and do a massive change history. Any part of us that it doesn't feel comfortable choosing to receive overwhelming abundance, tag and treat and do a massive change history. And any other part that's not in alignment with being abundant, overwhelmingly, overflowingly abundant, tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in events? The original event, any past, present, and future events across timelines, planes, and dimensions, please tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in emotion, past, present, and future emotion, whether they're ours in origin or they're handed down to us? Any emotions that are not in alignment with abundance, tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, any resistance in memories, judgments, thoughts, mental patterns, negative feedback loops, the stories that we tell ourselves, decisions and choices we've made, and the judgments we have on them. Any mental conditioning that is not in alignment with abundance, tag and treat and do a massive change history. And superconscious. Any resistance in our body's physiological or energetic systems, any level of resistance to overwhelming abundance in all five layers of our being, tag and treat and do a massive change history, releasing that resistance, allowing us to be abundant now. Superconscious, please ground all the memories we have touched today, especially memories 1, 2, and 3. Reconnect them to the matrix of the universe, connecting heaven and earth through our bodies. And just take a deep breath. Superconscious is still working on stuff, so we'll ask this question this way. Not necessarily what is your current level of resistance in your relationship to money, but what will it be? Let's say tomorrow when this process is settled in, because sometimes it happens while we sleep. What is the current level of resistance you have against money on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is low and 10 is high? Just notice what's the first number that pops in your head. And feel free to pop that number in the chat. Whenever you have it on a scale of 0 to 10, what do you feel is the new level of resistance in relationship with your money? What will it settle in? Awesome. We've got an 8 to a 5, a 9 to a 3. I love it. A 4 to a 2, a 5 to a 3. Awesome. Just keep those coming. But notice just this quick little process, your resistance went down. I love it. We got a 10 to a 0. That's amazing. 6 to a 2, 5 to a 4. I love seeing all these numbers come down. Thank you so much for sharing. So I just wanted to take you through that. You've now permanently upgraded your relationship with money. So step 4 is about taking action. And what are the obvious action steps that you can take in improving your relationship with money? So just ask yourself, based on what, the omnipotent source, the divine told you, whether it's God, universe, source, angels, what is an obvious action step you can take? And here's the thing. So we have that action step, but reality check is in 5 to 10 minutes when you leave this presentation, as soon as you leave here, life's going to happen. And unfortunately, we get busy, we get distracted, we forget the information that we got in this training completely. Even though you've permanently upgraded your relationship with money, you'll maybe forget some of the tools or using them on your own. You'll forget to take action, to visualize. You'll stop using the 4 steps. And it's likely that you'll get stuck in old habits and patterns and basically just stop taking action. It happens time and time again. I know I've seen before I understood this process and started working with my own processes. I've done it myself, and I've seen so many people. You do a great weekend warrior personal development experience, and then you go home and you never use it ever again. So just notice that it happens. That's a reality check. So without support and structure, these things, the distraction, the old habits and patterns will pull you back and keep you stuck in your current reality, using your energy to create the past again and again and again, mapping it onto the future. And that's the difference between information and embodiment. Remember, you're already a manifesting machines. Sometimes you're manifesting things that are aligned. Sometimes your wildest dreams. Sometimes you're manifesting things that are your worst nightmares. So you're already a manifesting machine. And I like to say you're in the place of, I want abundance. I can create it sometimes, but not consistently. When you practice regularly manifestation and using the tools, you go from a place of, I want abundance to I have abundance. And then embodiment. Embodiment is the mastery level of manifestation that I work on helping my clients get to. And that's where you get to the place where I am abundance itself. And when you are abundance, abundance has to come to you. This is the point where you are a manifesting machine. Is when you know that you are already abundance. And to create this embodiment, to cultivate embodiment, you need 6 things. Clarity in what you really want, practice of actually doing the things that whatever you're trying to embody, accountability and support to keep you practicing, and neuroscience tools. In my opinion, that's the number one thing to get you there easier and faster, because you can work on improving your relationship with money. You could take months, weeks, years, or you can do a 10-minute process. So I like to get people there faster with neuroscience. And then the 6th thing is community. Because if you've ever read Napoleon Hill, the mastermind effect is very real. When there are 3 people in a room in a mastermind, there are actually 4 energies. Each of them has their own energy and then the energy that they create together. So when you're in community, you can actually manifest easier. So I would love to support you. If you want to take action in becoming a manifesting machine, you can join the Empowered Living membership. So this is my membership where I teach people how to be manifesting machines. And so let me give you just a really quick tour of what the Empowered Living membership looks like and share with you some of the benefits that other people have experienced. So I help you through the 6 steps of embodiment, because I teach people how to embody manifestation. So we help you get crystal clear in your vision. And that leads to faster and clearer decision making. No more analysis paralysis, no more confusion. You actually know what you want. And it obliterates indecision, which I think is really, I know that indecision used to show up for me a lot. So just not having indecision is amazing. I teach you how to master effective visualization in a way that works special for you. And when you can master visualization, you embody magnetism. We talked about this. Everything is created twice, once in your mind and then once in the real world. So when you can create it in your mind, you become a magnet to attract it in the real world. And so you are effortlessly attracting resources, opportunities, people, whatever you need. You become magnetic for what you want and what you desire. And accountability helps keep you on the path of getting there, so you can stay focused and stay in action towards becoming the embodiment of a manifesting machine. Some more benefits before I start sharing with you some examples. We use neuroscience-based processes like the one we did today that helps you easily release the roadblocks that shift your perception, help you get in alignment with what you want. You can get farther faster when you use neuroscience. And you can shift from being in resistance and stuck to being in a place of flow in your life. And I provide support in taking action. This is so important because when you're surrounded by a community of like-minded people and you get the mastermind effect I talked about a minute ago, you actually can manifest more when you surround yourself with people who are also manifesting. And in this membership, you have on-demand learning that can support your mindset and shifts in your brain. So we have experiential training to rewire your brain. Just like today, it's not just take a bunch of notes and then go off with you. Every call I do has neuroscience-based processes to help you release resistance. It's very much workshop-y style like we went through today. And support from me. And so I help you with support in achieving your dreams. And so if and when you get stuck, because inevitably we all do, I'm there to support you. I'm helping you to get unstuck. And the result is you get to be a manifesting machine for your dreams and you become magnetic. So let's talk about a couple stories of people that have been amazingly magnetic by working, being a part of the Empowered Living membership. So this is Sabrina. She's a boudoir photographer. When I first started working with her, it was her first month. She had been in photography for 25 years, but she'd always had a part-time job. And so she left her job to become a full-time entrepreneur. The first month we started working together and she joined the membership. She was so worried. That was by the way, she's a private client, which includes my membership as well. So she was so worried about paying $550 a month to work with me. And again, don't worry, the membership is not that much. This is private coaching on top of that. She was so worried about that. Within 6 months, her bargain basement, she worked her way using neuroscience to making $10,000 revenue minimum every month. And then 2 months later, her new basement in her business, she makes a minimum of $20,000 a month because she used and employed the tools in the Empowered Living membership. So I'll take you through some features. Is I do weekly training calls to master your mindset. If you this membership is 6 months, and then you get to go month to month after that. But I have people that have been in my membership for 3 years because they see the value and they want to stay there. But if you add up all the weekly mindset training calls for the next 6 months, the value is approximately $625. If you add up all the accountability, right? We do planning and reflection calls every week, every month, and every quarter. If you add up all those calls, the value would be $825 over 6 months. And you get 2.5 hours of private coaching time with me, just one-on-one. And so the value of what I charge, that's $500 a month, or yeah, that's $500 just for that. And then you have a library of previous trainings. Like I said, 450 hours at any given point. You can access these even if you're not able to jump on a live call. And so the value of that, I mean, 450 hours, let's just say it's like $2.20 a call. It'd be over $1,000. The community of being in a manifesting machine community of all these other people working for their own dreams, but together, that in itself, that's the priceless part. So the total value, if you add all this up, is over $3,000. And let me share with you Kristen's success story, and then I'll share with you my irresistible offer. So Kirsten she's amazing. She's a longtime friend, and then she became a member in my membership. She was living in Florida, wanting to move back to Colorado. And the very first time she jumped on the ELM call, she had this very strong image of her mind of her perfect dream home. Long story short, she had some unexpected housing changes in Florida. She moved back to Colorado. And within 18 months of this visualization, she walked up and got her dream home in the most unusual way. And so that is Kirsten's success story. And so just a little bit more about the membership. Like I mentioned, it's 6 months and then you get to go month to month after that. The value you get each month, I mean, you have access to me 10 to 13 hours every single month. Don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to come to all of them, but that's if you wanted to, you could access me and my expertise that many. So like that would be $897, but it's not that. And on May 19th, the price is actually going up to $297 a month, but it's not that right now. Right now, you can get started today in the next 2 weeks, basically. The price is still $222 a month. And one last story before I share with you my irresistible offer is Sammy. Sammy joined my membership. She's a property manager. And within the first 3 months, and she was running a successful business. Within the first 3 months of being a member, she doubled her revenue. Within 9 months of being a member, she doubled that number again. And so now she's making well into 6 digits, and she's actually had to hire this whole new staff to keep up because her business is going so abundantly. So if you want to sign up to be to join the Empowered Living membership, I would love to support you in being a manifesting machine. The step is you can scan the QR code, and in a second I can drop the link in the chat. But if you want to scan the QR code, you would sign if it feels aligned. You sign up today, but then the next and sign up, the price goes up 30%. But the next step is a 20-minute bonus call. So if you're thinking that it might be for you, but you want to snag these irresistible offers, I sign up today and then we're going to jump on a 20-minute call. And then if after you talk to me one-on-one, you decide that you actually don't want to be a part of the membership, I'm happy to refund you your money, like no problem there. So if you're interested, if it feels aligned intuitively, you want to join, you want to be a manifesting machine, I would love to support you. You can join today. And I have very limited spots available. I have only 10 spaces that I'm honoring this price before I go up. And the last thing I'll share is the universe rewards quick action. And the universe loves speed. There's actually a principle that the idea or the speed from the idea to the implementation increases your success. So when you have an idea on something, if you can act on it immediately, your likelihood of success goes up by 90% by taking immediate action. And so your dreams are waiting for you. If you would love to start manifesting them now, my irresistible offer of bonuses that you can join if you want to join the Empowered Living membership is I will give you a free ticket to my Create Your Vision workshop, which comes with an additional 30-minute private coaching session with me. That's valued at $297. I'll give you an hour bonus coaching call with me. So not only do you get the 2-hour workshop, you also get an hour and a half extra coaching call on top of the 2.5 hours of private time with me. That's $197 value. You get a free copy of my workbook that I'll provide for you, which is a $27 value, which basically adds up to 568 extra dollars that you get if you sign up. So I would love to open up. I'm going to stop my screen share really quick. If you have any questions, I would love to support you in answering them. Hold on, stopping screen share, stopping my presentation.